The content of this podcast is provided for general informational purposes only and is not intended as, nor should it be considered a substitute for, professional medical advice.
Sweaty and pissed. Menopause makes me sweaty and pissed.
Well, hello, Leanne.
Well, hello, Karen.
Here we are in sunny Knoxville.
I know, sunny, hot,
Sunny,
muggy,
really hot, very hot.
sweaty and pissed, Knoxville.
Exactly.
Good to be back, my angel.
Yes, indeed. So what are we talking about today?
We are talking about one of my friends asked what are the what did she say? The five
How did you put that?
the best medical books about women's health.
Well,
Would that be?
exactly how it was said.
I know, because really,
The 5 most important books for women's health, you wrote. Yeah.
wasn't that smart of her? Her name is Sally.
Hi,
And she
Sally.
reads a lot. She's in a book club. I am not.
Yeah,
Karen.
and why is that?
I love, well, if there was a book club about murder or Christy Brinkley's beauty tips, how about that? Or Kitty Kelly's book about Frank Sinatra and all the twisted things he did.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff I like to read. Even though I just read Where the
Yes.
Crawdads Sing.
Oh,
Have you heard of that?
I've not read that.
Reese Witherspoon, it was in her book club, and I saw that on the Today Show. And Jenna Bush, she read it, and Reese bought the rights, and she's going to produce it into a major motion picture. And I thought it was wonderful. And I accidentally ordered it in large print off of Amazon. And let me tell you, I like large print. I'm going to continue to do that.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
I know. You know, I've got readers and I've got contacts.
Turn a
but-
lot of pages. You feel like you're reading a 600-page book and really
Yeah, but
only reading 200 pages.
I do really feel like it helped
yeah,
me
I probably, yeah.
at my age. But anyway, so isn't that a good topic?
That is. It
I
is
know.
a good topic.
So I have not read any of these to our audience. They can know that Leanne has not read any of these medical. I can't even imagine.
yeah.
But I know you have, you smart thing.
Well, and there are a lot of books out there that are detailed and give a lot of really good information, but aren't dense like a medical textbook. You know, so that's
Yeah, nobody
that
wants
makes
that.
it a lot.
How horrible.
Yeah, you wouldn't be part of that book club for sure.
No, I would not.
Yeah, so yes, it's a really good question, and of course, every person would give you probably 5 different books than I would give you today, but I think they're good starting places, and some of these books might lead you to move on to another book that's in that same category, or give some more information about that particular problem or option or diet. Or so I think it's a good starting place. So I do have books that I like to recommend to patients and friends and family, but one of them is, I hate to start with the one that make people go, oh no, I don't want to read that, but there is a book called The End of Alzheimer's, and it's the first program to prevent and reverse cognitive decline. And it's a book by Dale Bredesen. He's a MD and internationally known in his for neuropsychology, neuro diseases, and it is just a fascinating book on how to protect your brain, how to keep your brain healthy over the years. And I think that's always a good starting place. Just
Oh, yeah.
do some things that will really challenge your brain, and not just, he talks about supplements, he talks about activities, diet, exercise. I mean, the whole gamut on just how to keep a healthy brain. And I think that's an excellent start for women's health, obviously, and for men's health, and for everyone's health. And it would be nice if all of us could read something like that early on, in
And
our
catch
20s
it.
and 30s, to start a life time of healthy choices that would protect our brain. So that's a really good book. You might want to read that.
I do want to read that. There are a lot of books about brain health right now and brain gut health.
Yes.
How that's connected.
Yeah. And I think that it's a really common concern. I hear all the time in my visits with patients, people will come in and say, I think I'm getting dementia. I don't have any memory anymore.
I think I told you that.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a very common concern, really common complaint, and I think part of it is that we're not very good at focusing on things. We try to do too many things at once instead of stopping and really paying attention to what we're doing or who we're talking to. We try to do emails while our spouse is tell us what we should get at the grocery store later, and we just can't listen to both those things. We can't. Our brain just has a hard time processing both those things, and you either don't remember what you emailed, or you don't remember what your husband or wife or spouse or friend told you. So, I think some of it is just we are not good at single focus on our activities, and we just have busy lives, and we just do too many things,
and technology and all that. Like you said, I've been in a waiting room a lot at a hospital, and nobody's talking.
They're all on their phones.
Everybody's on their phone,
yeah,
or on an iPad,
yeah,
and nobody's reading a book,
yeah,
and then you go down to the cafeteria and eat a cheeseburger. Yeah. And so,
yeah, all of it adds up to no good. Yes.
It's no good.
Yes.
I know, me, Debbie Downer, thinking the world's coming to an end, but it's not good. and Karen knows, and I'll tell the audience, I went on a big hike. I do want attention for that. It was over 11 miles. I can barely walk and sit on the toilet. It was I hiked up to Mount LeConte. Of course, Karen has done it because she's active. But it is one of the tallest peaks in the Smoky Mountains. And for those of you listening across the United States, you need to come and visit our beautiful Smoky Mountains. But anyway, it's Mount LeConte, and it was 5.5 miles or something up. And you spend the night in a little cabin with no running water or heat. Or there is heat, but there's a kerosene lamp. And I honest to goodness, when I lay down in that bunk, and our friends were on the top bunk, who were our age, mine and my husband's age, our friend. But I thought, if he tries to have sex with me in a place where I got to have a key to get to a toilet, then I'm going to kill him. But anyway, thank the Lord, he had enough sense not to try to grab me while there were people on the top bunk. Yeah. But anyway, and I didn't have to do that, praise God. Before I came back down that mountain, 5.5 miles, sweating almost killed me. But anyway, I loved every minute of it. I really did. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done, especially in terrible shape that I'm in. But you notice people there's no service, no cell service. So people were actually like on the porches of these cabins laughing and talking. And then somebody had a banjo and was playing, and people were reading, people were sitting around reading books. People were hiking around up there because it looks like Narnia. Yeah. And it's magical. Yeah. And I've never seen moss that color. And that green, I mean, beautiful. Did you remember that? How magical it was?
Beautiful.
Looked like something out of The Hobbit.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's what I noticed, is that people were engaged with each other and listening to each other, and it was freaky because you don't see that anymore.
Yes.
Isn't that terrible? Yeah,
our family has a little cabin up at 9,500 feet in the Rocky Mountains, and of course, no cell service, and no TV, and you just play cards and go on hikes and read and cook, and so we don't do a lot of that anymore.
And everybody's walking around and can't think of their name, and depressed, and but anyway, enough about Debbie Doom and the world's coming to an end. What's the second book? Because that is okay. So everybody's going to have to read about brain health, because that's important.
Yeah, it is.
Nobody wants to lose their mind.
No.
Okay.
So while we're on the Debbie Downer track, the next book is How Not to Die.
Oh,
yes.
That's a good one. How Not to Die.
I can hear everybody clicking off their podcast right now. How Not to Die. Discover the foods scientifically proven to prevent and reverse disease. And this is by Michael Grieger. He's also an MD, specialist in nutrition. And it really is a book about a plant-based diet predominantly. But it's fascinating because he breaks it down by, like, each chapter is by disease. So how to prevent or how not to get lung disease, how not to get kidney disease, how not to get heart disease, so on and so forth. And so he talks about diet, but he also talks about lifestyle changes to reverse disease or prevent disease, and also gives specific food recommendations to help prevent disease. So it really is a good book, and it's an easy read. It's and it's fascinating. So that definitely will help guide you in terms of lifestyle, diet, so that you can prevent a lot of disease. And I think he has maybe 13 or 15 chapters. And so he touches on every area. It's really good.
Oh my gosh, honey, I bet you right now, you say they're clicking off this podcast. No, they're listening and on Amazon right now buying that.
Yeah, and speaking of that, we'll put this book list on our website. And then Amazon, you can, I try to put Amazon links on there, but it's easy enough to find.
Oh, that's a good one, sister. Okay.
Yeah. So another one is called The Cortisol Connection. And I think I've talked about this book on previous podcasts, but it's called The Cortisol Connection, and it's why stress makes you fat and ruins your health and what you can do about it.
Oh, that is a good one.
And this is by Sean Talbot and William Kramer. And it is... we talked about brain health, talk about some diet changes to maintain a healthy body. And then stress is a big problem in this country, chronic stress. And so this book really helps you figure out how to do stress, not only stress reduction, but how to support your adrenal glands during stressful times. So it's a really good book. And none of these are huge reads. I mean, they're not hundreds and hundreds of pages, but a very, very good book.
Oh, good. Good suggestion.
And the next one is Thyroid Power, 10 Steps to Total Health. And this is written by a husband and wife. He's an MD, she's an RN. And it just talks about the history of thyroid disease, the history of thyroid testing, the history of thyroid hormone replacement, and then a lot of the different ways to treat thyroid disease, and what signs and symptoms to look for if say you are being treated for thyroid disease, how to know whether that dose or that medication is right for you. So it's a really helpful book, really fascinating.
Oh, and so that covers Hashimoto's, Graves', all that.
And so they, too, talk about diet. And, of course, there are a lot of books out there on diet and Hashimoto's in particular. But basically, the main thing is you want to reduce inflammation. That's the biggie. So, but it's a really, really good book.
Oh.
There are a couple I know this is 5 and 6, but there are a couple really good books by Dr. John Lee, who really dedicated his life and practice to understanding women's hormones in particular. And he's no longer with us, but he has a book called Dr. John Lee's Hormone Balance Made Simple: The Essential How-To Guide to Symptoms, Dosage, Timing, and More. So that just helps you understand what hormone balance symptoms include. We all think about with menopause, hot flashes and night sweats and vaginal dryness, but it's much more complex than that. And so it just helps you identify if you're having any hormonal symptoms or hormone imbalance symptoms specifically, and what our hormones do, what each female hormone does to help address those symptoms. So it's a really good basic book about hormone symptoms and hormone replacement.
Oh.
So it's good. It's really good. And he also has a whole series of books, What Your Doctor May Not Tell You About. And he has What Your Doctor May Not Tell You About Breast Cancer, How Hormone Balance Can Help Save Your Life. And he has What Your Doctor May Not Tell You About Menopause, What Your Doctor May Not Tell You About Premenopause. There's quite a bit of overlap between those books, so I usually recommend the one that's What Your Doctor May Not Tell You About Breast Cancer, because I think there are so many misunderstandings and misconceptions about hormones and breast cancer that I think it's helpful to really know what effects our hormones have on our sex organs. And this book really does a good job of that. It's a little bit dense. It's not like medical textbook, but it is detailed. It is very detailed. But if you're curious about how hormones work in the body, it's an excellent book to read.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think
that's a good list.
That covers a lot of stuff.
It does.
Yeah. So thank you, Sally.
I know, Sally. She's so smart.
I'd like to know what books she would recommend.
I know. Well, I'll find out because she reads all the time
Yeah.
and she's just sharp. And she's one of those also, I think it's really smart when people, like her husband was going through health problems and she was taking care of him and she just taught herself how to knit. So now she knits these blankets that people are wanting in stores because they're stunning and beautiful. And then her sister's a chef and was a chef at Blackberry Farms. And so Sally can cook out of this world. I mean, she could decorate. She's just one of those people that she can do anything. You know, if somebody can sew curtains, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're brilliant. I don't, because I think, if there's a terrorist attack, I want her with me.
Yeah.
Somebody that can sew curtains. I don't know what I think we're going to do. And I'm sure they're looking at me thinking, what are you going to bring to the table? Well, I'll tell you what I'll bring. I will dazzle everybody around the campfire. I will try to make people laugh. How about that being my thing? But anyway, she's that smart. So thank you, Sally. That's a good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you doll. All right. Well, I guess that's enough but it'll be on the website.
Yep.
All the links. So thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
All right. See you next time.
Bye.
Sweaty and pissed.